Today is one of the saddest days, 2nd of November, in South Africa's democratic history. 27 years, people still don't understand the significance of voting. They stay away because they want change. For 4 or 5 years between elections, and these were the municipal local government elections, there's toy-toying, there's rioting, there's violence, there's people burning buildings, burning trains, burning schools, burning buses, shooting each other. There's taxi violence, there's bus violence, there's general violence. There's people demanding their rights, there's people demanding housing, there's people demanding sewage treatment works fixed, there's people demanding rife in Cape Town be fixed 20 years later. Or people saying we're going to fix it tomorrow, we'll fix it tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. Rioting in Natal. Huge warehouses destroyed, infrastructure destroyed. Millions, hundreds of billions of rands lost, turnover lost, GDP lost, jobs lost. And yesterday the government gave the day off as a public holiday, so everybody who was employed got paid to take the day off to vote. And all those employees that did not vote, who were registered to vote, failed their employer. They failed the state. 31% of people voted yesterday. 31% of registered voters voted yesterday, the 1st of November. 8 million out of 26 million people voted. 18 million people went to the beach, stayed at home, picked their noses. I don't know what they were doing. And if you're one of those people, then you've missed your biggest opportunity you've had, probably in your entire life. Because who knows, maybe we're going to get permanent lockdowns. Maybe everybody's going to get a vaccination whether they want it or not. Maybe you're not going to have any decisions made in your honor. Do you know that whether you're a street sweeper, a housewife in Soweto, a VBS person who lost your money to the EFF, doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the richest person in South Africa or the poorest person in South Africa. Yesterday, the street sweeper, everybody had more power than Jacob Zuma, more power than his Blue Light Brigade, more power than the police, more power than Cyril Ramaphosa, more power than the Guptas, more power than the Ruperts, more power than the Oppenheimers. More power than the servers. More power than the richest people. More powerful than the most powerful people. More powerful than every minister in government. Yes, you, I'm talking to you. The street sweeper, the maid, the gardener, the electrician, the builder, the bricklayer. You had more power than every single politician in this country combined yesterday with your vote, and you chose to stay at home. And now you have no say for 4 years until the national election. Maybe you can do something. Maybe you can get out and vote. And even if you didn't like the ANC, and even if you didn't like the DA, and even if you didn't like the EFF for the first time, as a result of work that I did and people like me, we had independent voters, independent candidates, and maybe independent voters as well, if you'd made up your own mind to go and vote. And what's the point of 1,000 people going and toy-toying outside Luthuli House yesterday to demand something from them? Oh, we're going to give it to you in 14 days. You had a vote. Soweto should have voted en masse. What did you vote for yesterday? You voted for load shedding. You voted for corruption. You said, we agree, because if you don't vote, you vote for the winner. Automatically you vote for the winner. If you'd voted for your local independent candidate in Soweto, or your local independent candidate in Sea Point, or your local independent candidate in Durban, then you would know that that independent candidate would represent you and your views in government. And so what if there are 100 seats of independence? It would be better than 1 seat of one party that makes every decision by itself and tells its 100 people how to vote. I'd rather have 100 people debating in government for what they want than one person telling 100 people how to vote. So you've lost out. You demand rights for 5 years, you demand houses. And then when you have the day when you're more powerful than every person who has power in South Africa, you're more powerful than them, you just stay at home. Why do you do that? I'm David in Milnerton, and I'm really sad today. I'm sad that 18 million people chose to stay at home. I'm sad that 18 million people chose not to vote. Can you imagine if those 18 million people had voted for some other party? That party would have won with a landslide, and even if they didn't want to vote for a party, there were lots of independent candidates standing, and lots of local parties that would have represented you. And you can see there's a Karoo party that seems to have won its local constituency, and I'm glad about that, because that party will represent those people in that place. And you had that power. More power than Mr. Gupta. More power than Mr. Ramaphosa. More power than Mr. Zuma. More power than a premier. More power than a president. The street sweeper had this power yesterday, and the street sweeper threw it away. And tomorrow the street sweeper will be toy-toying outside the 30 house, demanding their rights. You had your rights yesterday. Why didn't you use them? And no, you don't have to wait 4 years or 5 years for the next elections to have your say. And you don't have to go and break stuff. There are ways and means of fixing things in a democratic society. Find out how to do it. Talk to me if you need to. My name's David from Milnerton, and today is one of the saddest days of my life. And if you didn't vote, shame on you. And if you voted, fantastic. And if you're an unregistered voter, like me, who understands common law and wants to represent their own rights in Parliament, as opposed to giving rights to anyone else to represent you, that's also fine. We will also have our day in Parliament. Unregistered voters who understand their rights and understand their constitutional rights and understand constitutional law. But this is not directed at me or the people that voted. It's directed at the registered, unvoted voter who had the most power yesterday to make change happen, to fight against corruption, to fight against load shedding, to fight against water rationing, to fight against high food costs, to fight for your rights, to fight for your life, to fight for freedom that we all fought for, all freedom fighters like me. Yes, I was a freedom fighter. If you want to know my credentials, just ask me. I'll give them to you. And I live in South Africa because I believe South Africa is one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and definitely the most beautiful place in the Southern Hemisphere, with the most potential. And I still believe it, and I still believe it will happen. But if you sit at home, you have no say. So don't toy-toy, don't command, don't demand. Understand your rights, understand you need to vote. Please learn about the power of voting. Please learn how much power you have. Thank you.